Hello, welcome to Actual Play Court of Blades. It's a brand new show on Actual Play, which is great because Apocalypse Keys just ended. I'm so sad because that game was so amazing and beautiful and wonderful. But we grabbed Jamie from Apocalypse Keys, who just pulled them through the aether to play with all these other wonderful people. Anywho, I'm Sean Nittner. I use he/him pronouns. You can find me everywhere at Sean Nittner. As always, funds that we make here are split between Black Lives Matter and the Trans Legal Defense Fund. So if you give us money, that's where it'll go. That's up until forever, indefinitely. We are playing a brand new game called Court of Blades. This is our session 0. We're going to make characters. We're going to choose a house. So we don't know anything yet, and I'm really excited to play this game that is co-written by Navi. How are you?
So I'm Navi, and I did co-create Court of Blades. I'm really excited to play with you guys. You can find me at Navi Musing on Twitter. That's pretty much where I hang out. You won't find me anywhere else, except for here. And I think that's pretty much me in a nutshell. How about you, Jamie?
Sorry, I got so entranced I forgot. Hello, I'm Jamie. I use they, them pronouns. I too mostly exist on the Twitter sphere at Temporal Hiccup. I like to make games. You can find my stuff on itch.io, temporalhiccup.itch.io. And I'm super excited to play this game. There's so much I love about it. Yeah. And how about you, Kristen?
Hi, I'm Kristen. I use she, her pronouns. You can find me on Twitter at KristenIsNoJedi. I am super excited for this game. I watched the first episode of the BBC Three Musketeers series last night as inspiration. So I'm stoked for session 0. How about you, Sean?
Hey, I'm Sean Drake. For brevity's sake and ease of use, I'll be Drake tonight. But I'm at Drake and Dice on Twitter. I'm also on itch.io with Navi at a couple of Drakes. Itch, and then I am also a co-author of this game. I'll be running tonight's session. So tonight we are going to be playing Court of Blades, which is a Forged in the Dark game of Renaissance magic and gunpowder intrigue and all manner of romantic skullduggery. So first of all, we're going to talk about some safety tools for the evening because, like all role-playing games, we can have some bleed or anything like that. So just know everybody's familiar with lines and veils and the X card, right? Okay.
Yes, indeed.
Getting a lot of nods there. Before we get to anything, I just want to let you know that safety is my primary concern. So if anything is existing in the fiction that makes you uncomfortable, or we're getting close to getting tempers or anything like that, go ahead and just say X, or make an X with your hands. Give me rescue arms. Give me something to stop the conversation. We'll back up, and exactly, rescue arms, just like that. And then we'll back it up, and we'll talk about a way to go forward where everybody's comfortable. Before we get started, are there any lines, any veils that we want to talk about? My standards are, obviously no abuse to children, no flagrant or glorifying harm to animals, nothing that gets too dark and icky. So anything like that, anything else that anybody else wants to add or anything like that, the table's yours.
Yeah, I'd say we don't need any sexual violence.
It's a good call.
That's a big one for me too.
We don't need that one.
Exactly. Yeah, we're gonna leave that somewhere very far away. Okay, so that being said, I'd like to be the first to welcome you guys to Illyrian, the finest city in all the world, a multicultural melting pot in the ashes of the Dread Empire. They threw off the chains of the old empire a couple of centuries ago. It's since then been a city-state that is sort of away from most of the succession wars that have kind of sprung up in the fall of this empire. But the thing that you really need to know about Illyrian is that no matter how polite, how grand, how ostentatious or opulent the city may be, this is a war zone. This is a city in which warfare is exceedingly polite, but no less vicious for all of that. We're all going to be playing retainers, people who enter into the service of one of the grand houses of the game in Illyrian, the Great Game, in which houses jockey for power and eventually the princedom of the city. But before we talk about our characters, we need to decide which of the 6 houses of the Esaltare we are most interested in serving. Has everybody sort of given those a glance over? Have any thoughts on what we want to be doing?
I like them all.
I'd be happy to give like a grand dramatic reading of some things.
Ooh.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could rotate. I think there are 6 houses and there are 5 of us. We could, Drake, if you want to start it, we could rotate through and you could start and end the dramatic readings of.
Beautiful.
Okay. Does everyone have the Google Doc up that has?
Yeah. So we're starting on page 83 or 82. 82. Is that it?
Is that it?
Page 82 has House Corvetto, which I will tell you about right now.
Wonderful.
So House Corvetto is the house of the majestic tyrants. The Illyrian would be hard-pressed to think of a time when House Corvetto did not dwell within Illyrian. This ancient house is as secretive and mysterious as it is majestic and renowned.
That was a pretty good voice there, Drake.
Do you want to do House Battalia, Navi?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, nice. Thank you, because I'm catching up.
House Battalia won the freedom of Illyrian with blood and valor. With strength and honor, they hold it still. They are not naive or blind to the games of the Esaltare. They see the dance and they see through the lies. What was won at the edge of a sword cannot be stolen by pretty words. Battalia stands vigilant and unimpressed.
That is our old house of martial valor.
I love specifically vigilant and unimpressed. Like, I've seen all this shit. This is not a surprise. You're not newfangled fancy. You're just doing the same thing that everyone else has done before. We are not. I love that. That last part really resonated for me.
All right. Who wants to take House Bastien?
I'll read it. House Bastien, a rising tide. Though House Bastien's tide was never meteoric, it grew with the slow and steady tenacity of their sigil. Among the lower orders of the city, House Bastien is hailed as proof that anyone sufficiently audacious may rise to the highest ranks. Among the old houses, Bastien is thought of as a distressing novelty. Jamie, you want to do the next one? You want to do level?
Sure. Yeah. So House Lavelle, arcane gossip mongers of wealth and taste. Everyone in Illyrian talks, from the twist to the palace, the words drift in scores of tongues. Somehow, by guile or magic, they all make their way to the ears of House Lavelle. It is no surprise that many of those words are words of admiration for the house and its riches and cleverness. We do not speak ill when they are certainly listening.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and Kristen, do you want to take the last one?
House Maurizi.
It's not the last one. Whoops, sorry.
It's okay. I'll take Maurizi while she's
Sure.
reading.
No worries
there.
there.
It's all good. It's all good. We can.
House Maurizi, a tower built of spit and spite. They came as strangers to Illyrian, but money knows no provenance. Swords know even less. Unfashionable, gauche even, they set to the task of securing their new prize. Maurizi were once mercenaries from across the seas. Now they are conqueror princes. Their ways are not ours, but they serve just the same.
Nice.
Thank
Kristen,
you. And thank you, Sean. I literally, it was just spinning as I tried to unmute. I apologize.
No, it's all good.
I'm not going to mute again.
I think you're on mute is probably the next baby name is going to be on the next like baby names list for like 2021 because it's like you're muted is probably the most common thing anybody ever says these days. Do you want to read the last one then, Kristen? We were saving it for you. Irlanda. It's on page 93.
Is it Illyrian? Is that how you say the name of that?
Illyrian, yes.
Illyrian. Illyrian was once a city of merchant houses, dozens of tightening fists around the gold which flowed through the city of canals. Now only House Illyrian remains.
Irlanda.
If there is something that you need, it can be assured that the Irlandra,
Irlandra, yeah.
Mhm.
I'll get there. Alondra, either make it, import it, transport, or ensures that you needed it in the first place.
Nice.
These are
So
all
those
so
are our big
good.
houses.
Mhm.
Those are our big houses. And thank you guys for reading through
Yeah.
those for me. Does anything kind of resonate? Do we want to talk about what style of game we want to run here?
Mhm.
Well, before we went on, I remember Sean was talking about blowing stuff up. So, but I'm cool with it.
I have a slight inclination. I have a slight inclination to houses that are like, I think both Battaglia and Bastion resonate with me a little bit in terms of being pretty sure that there would be plenty of action and adventure and skullduggery. But I am there's appealing things to me in all of them, and I'm I always kind of like realize I can fall back on those. Those are very comfortable places for me to play in. As you can see with Ember in the last game, Jamie, I'm definitely like comfortable in that like dramatic, violent solutions, but I'm also open to other ones. So I don't know what was exciting you, Jamie.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I've been playing Dragon Age Inquisition, and my partner hates Valrayo, but I love them in this horrible fascination. So I'm kind of drawn to House Lavelle, but I also think House Bastien is pretty cool. So, but yeah.
Kristen, do you have thoughts?
Yeah. Sean, what was the other one you said? Bastion and
Battaglia. It's the house that's like they're the very martial house that like helped win the war, and they're very unimpressed by everyone else's politics. And they're like, yeah, seen there, done that. It's whoever's in charge now is not chosen by God or anything divine. They just happen to be the ones in power. That's.
It feels kind of Grey Warden stuff in my mind, which is cool.
Yeah.
I would do that one or Lavelle. I mean, they all sound good to me.
Sorry, we're not helpful.
I am absolutely just here to watch you guys fight it out because as a co-author, I love all of the houses. Otherwise, I would have scrapped them.
Fair.
Nice.
Well, there were a couple that didn't make the cut.
Hey Luke, it's nice to see you. It's nice to see everybody there, but I just I saw you pop up in chat. Are there any from a playtesting perspective? Are there any that you are like you haven't seen a lot of play of? It looks like Battaglia and Lavelle are the kind of the two that we're looking more at. Are there either of those two that you would really like to see what play looks like?
Good question.
Largely that depends on you guys, only because the style of the game is informed mostly by what you guys want to play. So if you're if you look at the XP triggers for each of those, Lavelle has kind of a more social aspect, whereas Battalia you might be crossing swords more often. It feels a little bit more musketeers, right?
Yeah.
Lavelle is more of that sort of courtly intrigue, a little bit more what do we say, almost Shakespearean in its comedy of manners sort of thing. So
and Bastien is your Robin Hood house, right? The other noble houses really don't even want you there, but they have to tolerate you, and the citizens actually look up to that house, whereas they're kind of with the other houses. So as Bastien, you're very much of the people. So that's also a really fun angle. But all those various like romantic kind of movies and whatnot are really kind of represented in each house. So do you want to be Robin Hood? Do you want to maybe play the Musketeers?
We've gotten most of these to the table. So
but not Battalia.
Battalia hasn't come up, have they?
Wow.
I was excited to hear someone say that they were interested in Battalia because Lavelle, because when they hear political intrigue, they want to play the most political house. So Lavelle gets a lot of love from our playtesters and the various players. So that gets the most attention is House Lavelle, but Battalia has never really been something people like, yes, I really want to.
Let's read the XP triggers, because Drake, you made a very good point that's the thing that we should be playing to. That's the thing that we'll be rewarded for doing. And so if there's things in there that are less fun or more fun, then I think
Absolutely.
that's that. So Battalia's XP trigger is to overcome an obstacle with honor or tradition. Jamie, you want to read
Bastian.
Lavelle's?
Oh,
Or
Lavelle's, yeah,
Bastian?
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But let me look at Lavelle's, right? Unique XP trigger, overcome an obstacle with secrets or discernment.
Nice. And Kristen, will you read House Bastian?
Let me just get there because I was looking. We're reading XP triggers.
Yeah, just the XP trigger.
Overcome an obstacle with audacity or unorthodoxy.
So
Yeah.
I think that's a real good point. Is like we
That
should be
is.
trying to hit our XP triggers. So whatever of those things sounds better, I'm all for.
Yeah. I'm cool. Yeah. Ooh. They're all good. But I also am intrigued by the idea that Battalia hasn't been brought to the table. That would be, but also being Robin Hood and screwing people is also fun.
Yeah.
Right.
I can get on board with
like
that.
For me, Bastion is easy mode because you can totally like, and I'm fine with that. I have no qualms about it. But like from a moral perspective, I think Bastion is going to be the easiest one to play in terms of feeling justified interactions. I think Battalia, as a very strong military power, is going to be filled with lots of toxic ideology and lots of sense of well, this is what you have to do in order to survive and to win and individuality.
Oh yeah, I like that. I do like
their
that.
beards and saying, "What's to be done about this new revenue?"
Yeah,
I do like that.
So,
I'm more drawn to Battalia now. I think just with the
Yeah.
idea of pushing against tradition and like all the angst that can come from it.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Because they seem like a very traditional house.
I'll jump into Roll20 and I'll go ahead and put a big Battalia across the top of our crew sheet here.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Cool.
Which means playbooks. What was the most interesting playbook for you guys?
Oh, I gotta go back.
I always like being the social one or the magic one, just because
Mhm.
I like being in a position where oh, fighting, I must flashback to what I did before this moment.
How I prepared for this.
Yep.
I think there were a couple that would fall into that category.
Yeah,
from
the
different
knack and
perspectives.
the I'm trying to remember the name of it, but yeah.
Why don't I
And the couth.
pull us over to Roll20, and show folks the ones that we're looking at. So you're looking at the knack and the couth, and I'll just pull those up.
But I'm also very cool with playing whatever. I love playing anything in.
No, play the thing
Fortunes
you
and
want to
Dark.
play.
Yeah, play what you want to play, Jamie.
Okay.
Have a better
All right.
time. Play what you want.
That's
Yeah. So I'm pulling up the special abilities because I feel like those are. I mean, there's lots of things that define a character. Their contacts, their items. Yeah. But I definitely think that special abilities are kind of a lot of the go-to thing that a lot of folks look at. So I'm pulling that up, and I'll pull up the couth as well. I have to tell you, there are moves that give narrative permission that always really excite me. So when I was looking at the Bravo, big surprise there, I saw they had two moves that were, one is Code Duello, that your challenges carry weight of your house. When you deliver a challenge for formal combat, your enemy cannot refuse. And also Honor Guard, your formal weapons training gives you the privilege of wearing weapons openly anywhere without repercussion. And I just think that I love moves that are just like, you get to do a thing other people don't get to do. It's not a bonus to a die. It's just a narrative permission you have because you have, you're from this house, or you have this ability. So just sharing my appreciation there.
That's
Kristen,
good.
Sorry, say again.
That's good to hear. Yeah. We also, everybody has their own XP trigger for their playbook as well. So looking into that, you'll get a little bit more sense of what is incentivized in Ilrian society for your particular playbook to be about. So the Bravo, for instance, if you overcome or address, you don't even have to overcome, if you address a challenge with violence and panache, then you are being a Bravo and you get XP for that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Is that what you're gonna take, Sean? Or were
I
you
think
just
so. I
Yeah.
think I like the hawk as well. So I'm open. What are you thinking, Kristen?
I was thinking the hawk or the knack. And
Nice.
Jamie, I heard you say the knack too. So I'm totally fine with the hawk if you're okay with the Bravo, Sean.
I'm super
Do you-
fine with Bravo, dude.
Okay.
Have zero worries about that. So, so that leaves that leaves you
Yeah,
with
I'll definitely
either the
go with
knack or the
knack.
couth being
Yeah.
being open to you. Yeah.
Yeah, I always love feeling out the magic user in a Forge in the Dark system. So I think I definitely
Cool.
want to try the knack. So
Nice.
and being a knack in a house full of tradition, what could go wrong? You know,
I know, right?
Nothing.
I'm just aiming for maximum angst here, right? I'm just trying to
You and your disaster children.
Yes.
All right, so I'm gonna try and make this for everybody. So everybody who watches the stream with Judd and I know that one of the most interesting things to do is watch us silently silently look at rules. That is the best
so good.
radio ever and the best stream ever. So, but I'm gonna fail to deliver that to everybody, and I'm gonna suggest that we kind of step through each step together, if that's cool. Like the look and the heritage and the backgrounds and things like that, because A, they're different for this game, and so they're new to us, but also B, I will rotate through the sheets so everyone can see us doing it. So I'm going to pull up those 3 sheets, and then is that cool with everyone if we kind of go take a sort of orderly process of like, what's your heritage, what's your background, and then if you ever decide to change your mind as you're like, oh, it would be cool if I was this, that's totally great. Okay, the Bravo house and the knack. And I'll have the sheets open, but please feel free to be modifying your own sheets and all that. So Navi or Sean or Drake, can you tell us about what's our first step in character creation? What's the first?
All right. Okay. First step in character creation, you guys have already done. You have grabbed your playbooks, whatever looks interesting. It sounds like we've got a Bravo, a Hawk, a Knack, and Navi. What were you gonna take?
I'll take the eye.
You're gonna do the eye. Okay, excellent. That sounds like a fairly well-rounded coterie for House Battalia. After that, we're all going to choose a heritage, where in the successor states we come from, whether we're Ilrian native, whether we are Maur, the sort of foreign exotic conqueror princes like the Maurizi. There's the Ibericans, which are sort of the more on the outskirts, tend to be a little bit more marginalized. The Calreans, which are thought of as sort of wild and barbaric, or somewhere romantic like Yongxi, which is very, very far away, has their own sort of courtly politics, a dedication to art and beauty, or from the strange and mysterious jewel cities which sank below the waves some 100 years ago. So there's all of that is on the Google Doc, which is on page 61. So whatever resonates with everybody, do we want to take it in turns and say a little bit about where we want our characters to come from?
I think that sounds great, but first I have to issue the biggest apology to you, Navi. I just got so like you were like explaining the game, and just in my head you suddenly switched to co-GM, and I was just like, cool, so we've got our 3 characters and we're ready to go, and I completely did not ask you what playbook you wanted to play.
I totally saw it like happening, and I was all like, I'm like a mini GM right now. So
and I was like, I'm so sorry. I apologize.
It'll be better when she has a character name, and then everybody will.
Well, yes, but also like I apologize. I just you like registered as like GM of the game, as like co-GM of the game for a second, so I apologize.
I totally got it, but thank you.
Okay. Of course. So I'm very excited that we have all 4 of our characters.
It will help. More stress to throw at problems.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I can read just a little blurb if you'd like from each of these heritages, so that we can get a little bit of their flavor, or we can kind of.
That'd be good for everyone listening in.
Yeah, that's probably not.
Yeah. Well, why don't we do the same thing? Why don't we round robin it? And,
absolutely.
And you start with.
I'll start with Ilrian. And then we'll go around.
So page 61, right?
Page 61.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
If you want to be a native, choose Ilrian. Ilrian is the greatest city in the world. The very finest of art, culture, and politics blend here. The people are cosmopolitan, vivacious, and quick to trade jokes or draw steel.
If you want to be somewhere foreign and exotic, choose the Maur. Across the ocean to the south, the proud desert kingdoms of the Maur are both military and economic powers to be watched with care. Maur is a blend of various cultures resembling Persia, India, and Egypt. Navi, will you do the next one?
If you want to be from a marginalized people, choose Iberican. The people of Iberica are often considered nomads and gypsies. People in polite society guard their purses a little more than usual when they enter the room, even when you're wearing the trappings of one of the houses of the Esultari.
And then, sorry, is it?
Yeah, you're up, Jamie.
Yes.
Perfect.
These are the Calray.
Yeah, so if you want to be from somewhere wild, choose Calray. Calray is a large country of sprawling grasslands, rugged mountains, and trackless forests. Calray is too large to be ruled, so government typically extends as far as the edge of a village before dying by inches in the wildlands. Many foreign empires have tried to bring Calray to heel, but even the Dread Emperor was unable to leash it.
Nice. Kristen, will you do the Yangtze?
Is it Yangtze? I was going to ask.
The Yangtze, yeah.
Yangtze.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you. If you want to be from somewhere romantic, rich in beauty and poetry, choose Yangtze. Yangtze are taught from an early age that beauty is the one ideal to be prized above any other. Whether in government, craft, or war, a Yangtze will execute their duty with precision and poetry. Prone to ritual and careful metaphor, the natives of the distant kingdom are proving exceedingly good at the games of the... What is it? Sorry, I couldn't hear you. Illyrian. I'll get these names. I'll get them.
It's great because now everybody is learning them in chat. We're getting.
Finally, if you want to be from somewhere strange, ancient and arcane, choose to be from the Jewel Cities. Before the three islands, beryl, lapis, and garnet sunk beneath the waves some years ago, they composed the homes of the Jewel Cities. The culture was rich in advanced technology, and magic was an everyday part of life. Are you berylline, lapine, or garnetine?
It's real hard not to want to be a crystal gem. Just gotta say, if you tell me that there's an option to be a crystal gem,
I was gonna say that because of garnet. I was like, why not be garnet? Sorry.
The look in one of your faces is so hilarious, like so cute.
We are a crystal gem. Yeah, sorry. I came to Steven Universe late in life, and I was so sad that I missed out on it. As long as I had.
It's fantastic.
It's so good.
I'm probably gonna go with Calray because I want to be a witch of the wilds. So
ooh, I love it.
Yeah. I'm really torn between being Yangtze or being Illyrian. I like the idea of having a lot of the weight of tradition, and I'm not sure whether I want that to be something where I have a sort of a cultural clash where I'm trying to absorb others' tradition while keeping my own values and beliefs, or whether it's something like deep entrenched in like 10 generations of being in the family and have all of those like Illyrian traditions internalized. So I'm gonna
that's super good grist for the mill either way, whether you're new to Illyrian and sort of feeling out this strange and kind of polite sort of power struggle that's constantly at the heart of everything. You're used to being careful, but you're not from here and this is not your game. Or else, very much vested in it, right?
Yeah.
Love Witch of the Wilds, by the way, Jamie. That is super cool.
Yeah.
I'm practicing my Morrigan voice in my head. So
nice. Kristen and Eddie, what are you thinking?
I think I might do something different than whatever everyone else chooses, just to have that, to bring a new culture. But sure. I am just kind of natively leaning towards Maur or Yangtze.
Nice.
And I was leaning towards either being native or being from the Jewel Cities. Although now, if I'm from the Jewel Cities, we're all going to have to sing the Steven Universe song, which is not really in line with the Court of Blades theme that I love so much.
So much levity when everything goes terribly wrong.
You can have like a full orchestral version of that song, right?
Perfect.
Right. Yeah. So now when we go to hold, when we go to pause in the middle, when people are hearing the hold music, they're gonna like hear it, the flamenco, but they're gonna like hear notes of
Yeah,
Stephen in the
course.
background. It's gonna be special. Yeah, I think you should do what you're excited about. I am all for it. I am going to be from Yangtze, Yangtze, if that is cool with folks.
Beautiful.
That's right.
That's great.
Yeah. I will be, oh man, I want to be from both. I like them so much. Okay, the hawk. Does it make more sense for the hawk to be native since they are kind of maybe darker?
So it makes perfect sense to be native. It makes perfect sense to be from elsewhere.
Okay.
You know, the hawk is sort of a dangerous sort of bounty hunter character, just a little bit of that kind of what I do is I track and bring in the most dangerous of game, right? And that's a uniquely portable skill. So after the Jewel Cities sank, where do you go? What trade do you ply?
Yeah.
Well, there's this new hunting ground, and I have become exceptionally good at this one too. So either way, it works.
Sold. I'm going to be from the Jewel Cities.
Now, are you Garland and Garnet?
Nice, absolutely.
Fair.
I don't. Yeah. Which island?
So all these, you know, you are just like in most Forge in the Dark games. This is our game. This is not the game necessarily written down. So I'm going to be probably leaning on you every now and then, like, well, what's this like, you know, from a Jewel City perspective? Like this is from this, you know, world of high technology and magic being part of everyday life back into all of a sudden we're back in the Renaissance, right? How does that make you feel as a Jewel Cities native, right?
Yeah. Okay, I love that.
So we'll build some fiction together, and that's
okay.
Kind of the
Perfect.
Yeah. But is there one of those names of an island before they sank that resonate?
Yeah, I have to be from Garnet.
Garnet, fair enough. All right, so you are from Garnet. We have a Yangtze, a Palrayan, and a Jewel Cities resident. Navi, what are you playing?
So I'm going to be Maur. And earlier I said the I, that's because I have a silly in my head. I meant the key. I'll be playing the key.
Oh, okay.
Very different. Okay.
It's very different because we have a lot of, we got a lot of ass kicking in this group. You guys picked all the really tough ones. So I'm like, let me bring in a little bit of diplomacy.
We have
Perfect.
A fearless duelist, a dangerous bounty hunter, a strange knack able to bend the forces of reality. And now we have our crafty mastermind and manipulator as well. So somebody can talk, which is good.
Thank
It
goodness.
sounds fantastic.
We've tried violence. It didn't work, but it's all.
It didn't work.
Well, I think a fairly dangerous crew coming from House Battalia makes a lot of sense.
Complete sense. Absolutely.
I'm happy with all of these choices. Is it established within the fiction whether or not different houses keep hostages from other, where they do the sort of exchange of like you go live? Hostage is one way to say it. Ward is
much more polite, right?
fostering, yeah. But is that a part of the fiction? And if not, does anyone have a problem with me bringing that in as part of the fiction? Is that
Love
an
it.
okay thing?
There's nothing established, but once again, we build fiction as we go. There's some tastes of Illyrian culture in the back, the taste of Illyrian, but at the end of the day, like this is our playground. We get to say to say what the fiction is, right?
Awesome. Well, I'm going to say that my Bravo is a hostage of Yangtze, that they are here because their counterpart, the Illyrian counterpart, is there. So there was an exchange, and we both are lived and taken care of and very well regarded, but ultimately not.
Certainly, that's super cool.
And I'm sure that will cause no tension or division of loyalties at all.
No.
Perish the thought. But yes, that brings us very nicely to background. So we are going to select our character backgrounds: academic, labor, law, trade, military. Whether you're a noble, like it sounds like Sean is going to be, or whether you came up in the underworld. We don't have a couth, but that doesn't mean that our hawk or our knack came from sort of an underworld background. So you pick one of those. We can flesh that out just right now if we'd like, and then we'll get to assigning dots, which is always fun.
Nice. So the backgrounds are similar. They're pretty short. Do you want to go through the backgrounds as well?
Read them real quick?
Certainly. Yeah, I'll read them off real quick. The backgrounds are academic, sort of a scholar, a professor, a student at the Schola Naturalis, which is the local sort of mage college, a mystic's apprentice or a philosopher. There's labor, a docker, a sailor, a house servant, a gardener, a coach driver, a gondolier. I'm sorry, I never really came out and said this. We are not, our game here is not necessarily playing the prime movers and shakers within the house. We're retainers. We are attached to the house. We have been brought into its good graces, and we are trying to prove ourselves worthy of inclusion by name and rank into the house. So that is basically the stakes that we're fighting for. In Blades in the Dark, it's very much, will we get enough to pay off everybody that we owe and maybe retire with something in our pockets? And this one, money's no object. Because we have the blessing of the house, we're taken care of, we're attached, but we're not necessarily the quality ourselves, right? So we are trying to find our way in this world, be included into this huge house, and eventually secure our station and our legacy. So we are starting off maybe not necessarily in the gutter by any stretch, because we are in service to the 6th house of the Esultare, the brand newly arisen house of the Esultare. But we are not necessarily in a secure position. So when I say that you come from an academic background or a labor background, this is where you were before you came to be in the house's service. So there's also law, where you're an advocate, a barrister, a watchman, an inspector, perhaps even a mercy, a bodyguard, or a jailer. Mercies are monster hunters. So if that's cool, do that. There's trade, a shopkeeper, a merchant, a craftsperson, a shipping agent, a deal broker. Military, you could be a soldier, a mercenary, an intelligence operative, a strategist, a training instructor, or even an unhoused bravo. Noble, you could be a dilettante who's in way over their head at this point. A courtier, a scion of a fallen house or a lesser house, or from the underworld. An urchin, a charlatan, a street performer, a gang member, a thug, or some other outcast who grew up on the street. So tell me, my good people.
Yeah, I'm also I think I'm gonna go with Noble. I think the idea is like I was a consort, this wild thing taken in, like I have a feeling like mistresses are a very open thing, that's not looked down upon necessarily. It's just, so I think that's definitely where my character comes from, and I think they're trying to prove themselves so they can take on more power for themselves without having to be a consort.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Nice. Were you noble before? Were you a noble from Calray that like has a title on your own, or is your entire claim to that title through your relationship?
I think my partner, she has told people that I come from a fallen house that made its way to Calray, but the truth is I came from a shack with my horrible mother of a witch. So none of it is true, but the story is there to protect me.
Nice.
Awesome.
I love it.
Sort of a finger to the lips and say no more. Very mysterious from a log cabin back in Calray.
Yeah. I mean, no one knows enough about Calray to know, right? Sure.
Exactly,
we don't have the
exactly.
records. Yeah.
Too wild. It's too weird. How could you ever know? Super cool.
What are you thinking, Kristen?
I was originally thinking military, and then I heard that a mercy is a monster hunter.
Okay.
And you were like,
So
I had a feeling. I know we just met, but I was like, I feel like Kristen's gonna jump for the monster hunter.
So too.
all right. So mercies are they are a quasi secret society that tracks down things that go bump in the night. They're monster hunters. They're exorcists. They're basically like a little bit almost like the knight errant going on. They typically work in very, very small groups. There is a small detachment in Ilrian of mercies, which they tend to the things that are weird. And you could totally be one of those.
Yes, please.
Okay. So our hawk, our terrifying bounty hunter is also a trained monster hunter.
Nice. I mean, it all adds up to me.
It really does.
I don't see the lie.
There's even a hawk special ability called Terrifying, where
All that.
exude an aura of menace. So anyway, a monster hunter, a wild quasi Calrean noble. Sean, what are you gonna play?
Yeah.
I like the idea of noble. I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I think that would fit into the hostage situation. I was briefly, and this may be because we've gotten on a Robert Redford kick in my house, and we just watched Legal Eagles, and it was really fun to watch this lawyer who acted nothing like a lawyer at all. So I briefly had this notion of an advocate as being a fun element, but I think I'm just going to work that into my backstory in some way. So
fine.
I think
I just want you to know that you could be an advocate and still be a fencer, because it makes sense.
That's what I'm thinking. Exactly.
In this strange city, sometimes a court case gets tried very sharply.
Yeah, well, that was my thought is, and I'm stealing a little bit from an old Blades, from the Bloodletters Blades game that I played in, where there was one particular character who often liked to piss people off until they did something that he could challenge them to a duel for and then kill them. And it was this is an NPC, but he became sort of an infamous character because he was really, really good at murdering people, and also really, really good at figuring out exactly when it was legal to murder them via duel.
There's a word for that. It's spadassinocide, where you get somebody so riled up. It's murder by duel, right? Like, it's basically, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I'm going to be an advocate. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And are you still pursuing that here in Ilrian, or was that back?
No, I think that was my background. I think I am. I think that's actually my task, is to become recertified in Ilrian. I don't think my advocacy, my status in Yangtze, it translates. And so it's like a lot of people coming from other countries that have degrees and whatnot, and yet they have to do other work. So I think. I'm trying to train to the point where I could become certified.
So our young She Bravo is trying to pass the bar here in Ilrian.
Exactly.
Oh my God, so good. All right, Navi, what about you?
I guess I'll be the little scrappy one here. Let's go Underworld. So she's going to be a former gang member.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Our manipulator and strategist.
I can always tell when someone's lying to me.
Okay, that makes sense.
That tracks.
Yeah, that checks real good. Okay.
Yeah.
So that sounds pretty good. I like all of these characters so far. I'm really excited. Now we get to assign some dots. We get to see what we're good at. So we've got all of our action ratings over there on the side under body, mind, and spirit. We're going to assign 4 action dots. We're going to put 1 dot in any action that kind of reflects our character's heritage. We're going to put 1 dot in any action that reflects our character's background. And then you've got 2 free dots to put anywhere you please. Your max rating as you start is going to be 2 per action, so no more than 2 dots in any one thing. And that's going to be where we put our dots.
Nice.
The hardest part to talk through, because I'm sitting here thinking like,
Yeah.
where can I put this to make this character make sense?
Well, I had an easy one of being a former advocate. To me, like, that just spelled having done and study. That seemed necessary. And I'm thinking of being what it would mean to be part of a sort of a house exchange. I feel like there'd be some social skill associated with it in order to navigate the houses. So I'm thinking consort or sway as my dot tied to heritage.
And channel down there under spirit. This is sort of tinkering with things that are arcane. Now, if you're not a knack, you can't draw it from nowhere, but there are magical devices. There are all manner of objects of power and things like that around Ilrian and throughout the world that even a blunt, somebody who can't, who is not a knack, can interact with. So channel, it's not necessarily only a knack skill. This is kind of like a tune in Blades in the Dark where the ghost field's there, the weave is still there. And if you want to interact with it in any way or anything like that, it's probably going to be a channel roll. So that's the one that I've had groups tell me has kind of thrown them because they're like, well, I'm a Bravo. Why would I touch channeling things?
Mm-hmm.
You can still use magical stuff. You just can't power it with yourself.
Yeah, I've noticed in Forge in the Dark games, people really stumble over that because they're so used to like, oh, magic is only for this specific class or this select few. So I've always liked Blades in the Dark and other Forge in the Dark games for going, no, everybody can, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
I think one of my favorite character concepts was a whisper that like had 2 dots in skirmish, and they were a whisper that worked aboard a Leviathan hunter, and they were like, I break Leviathans for lunch, but like also I have to go talk to the ghost field, and it's just like complete inversion of like the whisper, like, ooh, I'm this creepy quiet, like no, like they were a menace.
Yeah, so good. I love playing whispers who have wreck. I'm just gonna that's like,
I mean it's an action in this game.
Yeah. I did take a dot in rec.
Nice.
So I justified my dots for sway because I had to convince people I'm not a wildling, and even though I totally am. And I took 1 in skulk to reflect how I had to sneak around in the wilds in order for us to scavenge and survive. And then I put in 1 in rec because I can't help it. I'm so sorry. I always had to put 1 in rec.
Do the thing that excites you.
Great action rating.
I can't remember where I put in the other one. I think I put in another 1 in study. Yeah, I think that's what I did. Just because it makes sense for the character. I think they're very, they're trying to learn about magic as much as they can.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up being pretty rounded here. I put dots all over the place because, I mean, I'm key. I should fit everywhere. So we're going to go with the dot in maneuver and rec, 1 in survey, and 1 in consort. My native points were in sway and tinker.
Nice.
Which one of those skills served you best in the underworld?
Oh.
So for underworld, it's going to be maneuver.
Got to get around. That makes sense. Yeah. Got to duck the watch, and then that's really cool. Okay.
How many dots do I get again?
You can add 4. Yeah.
So 7 in total.
Thank you.
Yeah, I also always worry about that. How much in total?
I've never played Blades in the Dark or a Forge in the Dark game ever.
It's so much fun.
So
One of us.
I would apologize, except I like to think the people watching are like, thank goodness, because I didn't know either.
Yes. Someone else. You are a point of view character. Kristen, you're the one that could be the voice to the audience of how all these things work. Because
that's why I'm here.
Ask. Yeah. So the actions in Forge in the Dark games, they are players are the ones who decide what action they're going to take, and the actions basically do what they sound like. So if you want to skirmish with somebody, you just say, I'm going to skirmish with that person. And if Drake would be like, that seems like it'd be hard to do right now because you have to get up to them first, maneuver would be better, then skirmish might not turn out to work super well, but it's always a choice that you can use. You can, as long as you can sort of justify it in your own mind
narratively.
Fiction. Yeah.
As long as the fiction supports any of these things,
you can argue for it. Yeah.
They're very broad kind of categorizations. That's a hard word.
Fair.
So we talk about it through the fiction, and depending on what your character's avenue is, like Sean was saying, this could be skirmish. We're fighting here, but really, I want to get the upper hand. I want to move, and I want to make distance or anything like that. Oh, so you're probably, this feels like maneuvering. Are you maneuvering here? Because that's, and then we'll talk about what the position and effect is with that particular approach, and then again the conversation, two-way street. So we'll figure out what makes the most sense there.
I like it already. I'm definitely going with 1 in skirmish. That just
Note that
makes
like
sense.
killing and tracking things is generally falls under hunt, which you already have 2 in. So if you're like, I want to
Yes.
shoot this thing from a distance, like that's already covered in
Yep.
the skill that you're.
That's
I
also
fe-
finding your contact or any other thing that
Mhm.
might be hunting, right?
And I think I have to bring up that I really love about Forge in the Dark games is you can still try for something even if you don't have the skill. Like if someone can help you, you can accept. In this game, it's called the Lady's Favor, right? So you're really meant to like push your luck and try things. So
If you have no dice, we can do dice.
We can
You
do
might
some
have,
dice.
you might have to give something up. There might be a price to pay,
Right.
but you can always have dice.
Yeah, so it's really cool.
And even with no dice, you still end up rolling 2 dice. You just take the worst one.
Yeah.
It's not a good choice.
It's very rarely boring.
I did have this player who did that all the time, and he kept rolling 6s each time. Yeah.
I mean,
there you go.
if you can just always get 6s, then it doesn't matter. You know.
I hardly get to play at all if you guys get nothing but 6s.
Yeah. I'm gonna change my heritage a little bit. I think that the idea of being both trying to get my law degree and being a noble hostage doesn't quite like it could be done, but it feels like it's all cramming too much. So I changed my heritage to Yangshi exchange student.
Exchange
Same
student.
idea.
Very cool.
Just not a like I think I have expectations for my family that I will stay here and I'll do well, but it isn't. I'm not being held here. But it's similar vibes, but it kind of fit better into trying to get a degree.
Now, my real big question is: are you gonna be trying to carry an academic schedule while also trying to move your house up?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I did the opposite of Navi in that you like spread everything out. I just hyper focused. My thoughts are all maneuver, skirmish, study, and then one in sway. Like I am maxed out in everything I can be because I think I have a very like narrow focus and it's gonna bite me in the ass.
Fun. I like that. All right, so everybody has dots all assigned. Everybody feels happy with where their dots are living. Okay, well, the next thing is to grab one of these cool special abilities you see on the left side of your sheet there. You start off with special armor. Everybody has some kind of special armor that allows them to resist a consequence once per errand. It depends on what your playbook is, what kind of thing you can resist with your special armor. But because you are part of the team, because you all work together, because you guys are all exceptional, that's why you're working for the Esaltare. You have the ability to have the foresight, the skills to kind of head off some of the terrible things that I'm going to say are going to happen to you. So everybody starts with special armor, but you get one additional special ability. So look at your special abilities, decide if any of them sound cool. If none of them sound cool, I have a bigger problem than I thought I did. But yeah, and then we'll go around and we'll say what we wanted to pick, and then we'll talk about that.
Ooh, so we all get the special armor automatically. That's cool. I like
That's
that.
very cool.
Very awesome.
And they're different, right? Each playbook's special armor is different.
Yeah, everybody's special armor is good for a certain situation. The knack may not be able to deal with a social gaff, but if magic starts getting thrown around and you almost get melted by a hummingbird made of green fire, the knack can help you out with that.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely going with the first choice because I saw that you wrote down that usually the first choice is like a good option. But I want to curse things. I'm a good person,
Point of being a knack if you can't, spit a curse and make an enemy wish that they had never been.
Exactly. So very cool.
Very Calrayan. I like that.
I was muted. Fun. I'm very much working towards both Count Duello and Honor Guard as like social standings, but I'm choosing not to start with either one of them, and I'm instead starting with Unstoppable because I love the move and it's fun to be able to leap up to the top of buildings or do other things. And it's also a good justification as like why I might have this position, like a good rationale for why this Bravo has been brought in, despite their academic duties, their academic devotion.
All right, so as the key, I get my special armor is to resist any complication related to suspicion or persuasion that I'm present for. And I'm taking foresight. I think this is a cool one. Twice per errand, you can assist a teammate without paying stress. Just describe how you prepared for it.
Oh,
Very nice.
that's very cool.
And to help people. I like that.
Well, it's nice to be able to say like, oh, I was ready for this. Oh yeah, this. Nope, I was ready for this as well.
Yeah, and
Saw that coming.
without having to like flash back and say, oh no, yeah, we totally thought about this, and this is why. Okay, I'm gonna need stress. No, it's not. I was ready.
Let's see. What do you think, Kristen? To any of
I
them?
know, I'm
look-
holding up the party.
No, you're.
Oh no. I always choose intuitively. I don't think about it. That's how.
I love that, Jamie. That's wonderful.
Jamie,
I just figured.
I'm just gonna do this at point, and we'll
Yeah,
just see
yeah. That's really what
happens.
happened.
Well,
That's what I always do.
Yeah, if anything looks fun, it probably will be.
Well, that's my problem. The opposite of what Drake was worried about.
They all
which is
look
they
fun,
all
yeah.
look good.
They all look
Yep.
good, actually. It's true. It's true. They're all
I
great.
feel like I read when I was trying to read all the rules that if you're unsure which special ability to take, to go with the top one because it's there for a reason.
First one's always a good solid starting option.
Which is terrifying. You have an air of menace and danger, obvious to even the most unobservant. You gain potency when trying to intimidate someone. If done immediately after a show of force, take 1d. Is it 1d6? Plus
Yeah.
1 dice as well. Sorry, got it.
So, Kristen, I'm wondering, are you terrifying because there's some part of being a mercy that like is always this perceptible? Is it because you're a monster hunter and like you have monster bits on you, or like you have a certain aura, or you have a reputation?
Is it like Witcher Henry Cavill vibes?
Yeah.
Like, what's so scary?
If I go with terrifying, I might switch it, but if I go with terrifying, the thought is that yes, that I have hunted so many monsters, or I've seen so many things, that there is this aura, right? There's almost this eerie glow around me that just makes like the hair on people's arms stand up, like they're unnerved by just my presence.
You've stood in the shadows so long and held the wall against things that are horrifying for so much of your life. Now you bring a little bit of that air of menace with you. That's super cool. Super cool.
I love it.
Okay, so a related question, because I forgot to go over their lines and veils. How do we feel about romance? Because that sounds very hot, but I just want to check it. How do we feel about it?
Very scary.
I have no lines or veils about romance.
Okay.
Yeah,
just
I'm good.
checking.
Yeah.
This is romantic skullduggery. If it doesn't get sexy, then I'm doing something wrong.
Right? Yes.
But not graphic. Right? This
Fair.
is a family show.
Not really, but yeah.
I know.
But yeah, I'm all for it. I think our characters getting entwined is all kinds of.
You guys are going to be working together. You might have to trust each other with your lives. Like, come on.
Yeah.
It seems like a really bad reason to form romantic relationships, and that's
No, but it doesn't.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
I just
children.
watched the episode of Voyager where Chakotay and Janeway are stranded on a planet for a long time, and they're like,
and they have the almost
sparks start flying, and you're like, what? It's wild.
I love that. I love Voyager. It's so good.
I'm watching it for the very first time, and I'm.
Oh really? Oh,
yeah.
nice.
Ooh.
It gets
People
really,
always.
really good.
But back to Quarter Blades.
Yes.
Natty, what are you taking?
Didn't I do mine?
Oh yeah, you took foresight.
Oh, yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Who am I missing? I'm sorry. Is it Sean? No, Sean. We got.
Nope. I'm
we
going
did.
unstoppable.
All right. Last thing we have to really take care of before we talk about our look and everything is your indulgence. So we are still people. Ilrian is hard. We need a way to blow off steam between errands. Mechanically speaking, this is how we were going to burn off all of our stress that's accumulated throughout the errand. And we're going to basically talk about what it is that we do when we're not serving the house, what kind of obligations we might have out in Ilrian that keep us from doing this 24/7. So basically, when we do downtime, we'll talk about what that looks like. We have all kinds of different indulgences, faith, gambling, luxury, an obligation, pursuit of pleasure or stupor or even things arcane. So it might just be, you go curl up with a good magical grimoire and delve into things people were not supposed to know. So what kind of indulgences suit our characters as they are sort of coming together?
This is an easy
Oh, yeah.
one for me. I'm going obligation. And I think given her background, she's got kind of a soft spot for orphans. So she spends her time down in the twist with the local orphanage.
The orphans that weren't
Sister
as,
Aveline's, right?
Okay, yeah, Sister Aveline's.
Yeah.
The orphans that weren't as lucky as you to kind of come out of the twist and be patroned by one of these powerful houses. Makes sense to me. Who else?
It's very wholesome.
Ooh. Okay, I have an idea, but let me know if it undoes the wholesomeness. Just let me know. I was going with arcane. I was thinking there's a soul of an old god that's sleeping in the soul of a child. I thought, and when you said orphan, I was like, oh, what if we both go to the orphanage but for different reasons?
That's cool.
We're just gonna go hold hands and go down the orphanage.
Yeah, there's a lot of weirdness that goes on in the background of Ilrien because this is a conflux where a lot of cultures and a lot of things all sort of come together. I could totally see there being vestiges of some eldritch power that may have found its way into one of these orphans. So yes, absolutely. That would be an arcane indulgence, I think, right?
But, I'm acting like I'm helping you out with
Certainly. That's about cool, having conversations with, Arturo at the orphan. So Arturo, any strange dreams recently?
Exactly. So how have been the dreams, Arturo?
Excellent. Kristen, how does your hawk blow off steam?
Pleasure. Definitely gonna go pleasure. Do I have to pick one, or can it be lovers, food, drink, drugs, art, and theater?
Oh yeah, no.
All of the above.
Depending on the day of the week. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you come from an unspeakably old civilization, and any unspeakably old civilization, like, it gets a little decadent, right? I can imagine that maybe trying to find that old home that maybe you don't even remember, but who knows that you still have those cravings. I could totally see just pleasure in general.
Yeah.
Excellent. And Sean?
So I have an idea, but I'm wondering if it's going to become too outward facing. And I don't want to have my own little corner of the game that nobody else interacts with. And that is that I think obligation also makes a lot of sense for my Bravo, and obligation to their family. But I don't know how much the Yangtze will be present in the game, and I don't want something that's going to take me out of the interactions with everyone else. So if the idea that being loyal, having this divided loyalty could cause fun trouble for us, that there could be a Yangtze delegate, embassy in Ilrien, that they might sometimes agree with us and sometimes not. If that sounds cool to folks, then I will do that, because I think having that divided loyalty would be fun. If not, I was thinking, I have other ideas too, but.
The thing about Ilrien is that it's a big melting pot of cultures. There are houses of Yangshi who have moved to Ilrien, and our players, movers and shakers, haven't made their way up into the Esaltari yet, but there are plenty of Yangshi in Ilrien to deal with.
Cool.
Some of them probably, who look fondly on your family, and others who do not.
Yeah.
So I won't let it be just you in a corner doing Yangshi things.
But I don't want it just to be the two Seans talking either. I don't want it to be something where it's when I go to indulge my vice, everyone else is like, that part of the game is not interesting. So, it's just you and I going. So I'm just kind of, for the other player, just trying to suss out if that idea of possibly involving other houses. I don't think my family is here. I think my family is in Yangshi, but I think as being a foreign exchange student, I'm living with another Yangshi family, or I was maybe. I'm not sure what our living situation is now. And so there's that foreign exchange student duties to your home, etc. culture.
Cool.
Does that sound fun too?
I'm already spinning entanglements off just because of this. I'm so
I will
excited.
shoehorn myself into anything, so don't worry.
It's true.
Okay, all right, here we go.
It's true. Okay, cool. So it sounds like we've got got all of our base desires kind of laid out. Now we get to say who these people are, what they look like, and put the finishing touches on these characters. Then we'll put the finishing touches on our house, and we'll start setting up Ilrian so that it is a living, breathing place with its own politics and things starting to move and shake without you. And then you get to kind of go step into the sandbox and see what you can upset, right? So let's talk about, you know, our look, our name, all the things that make us people, right?
Oh, what about the friends and rivals part? Do we do that now
Oh,
or later?
yeah, completely forgot about friends and rivals. Yes. So we have friends, we have rivals, we have one friend, one rival on the, thank you, Jamie, great call out.
Oh no, I was thinking about my horrible ex-girlfriend. That's why I was just excited to talk about her.
You were ready.
I was ready.
If you're ready, tell me about your friend and rival, Jamie, because
Yeah,
I need to know this.
boom, Knack is getting pulled up right
Oh yeah.
now.
Yeah, so my rival is Moon. It says here an unrequited love, but I think we were like former lovers. I still love them.
Unrequited love.
Yeah, yeah.
I just want to point out, Jamie, that is a text editable field. So you go and,
Oh, yeah,
and
that's
do
true.
you.
Yeah,
Just
okay.
change that right now.
Yeah. A complicated ex-lover. I'm gonna put that. Let's just make my life terrible.
Perfect.
And I think they know more about me and my background than other people do. So I'm always worried that, you know, the other shoe is going to drop at some point. And yeah, in terms of friends, I have Anisha, a Mercy, because like, I don't know, maybe I have a thing for Mercies. I don't know, it's terrible.
Yeah, I feel like you've got a thing for Mercy.
For dangerous people. I don't know. But yeah, and so I think Anisha is a little worried for me and my obsession with magic and more of the arcane secrets, but they're here to assist me. But yeah, so that's a friend and rival I came up with.
Excellent. I'm super stoked for all of that because now I have hooks.
Yeah.
All right, Sean, do you want to talk about your friend and rival?
Sure, absolutely. I will pick them right now. My friend is Blair, a fawning noble. Blair thinks I'm stealing right out of the Nature Witch playbook from Thirst for Lesbians, but Blair thinks we went on a date when it was really just friends going together.
Yes, one of my favorite things.
Blair is my like is like my access to House Battaglia. Blair is a House Battaglia member who just adores me. I think he is. I think he's a fawning noble, and we have a very asynchronous relationship. I am way lower status than he is, but I also don't have nearly as much affection for him. And there's that weird thing where power differentials in relationships, it's kind of a messy relationship. Like it's not one you want to stare at for too long because it's
and it rapidly turns into a train wreck that's just coming down.
Exactly, right? I don't dislike Blair. I just don't think Blair is all that as much as he feels about me. And,
I have follow-up questions, but I'll hold them. Who's your enemy?
Sounds good. Oh, and like Ari totally has to be my enemy, a childhood rival. Ari is she is actually I want more like himbo characters. So Ari is male as well. I'm gonna make myself not a male character, but I'm gonna populate the world with male characters.
Thank you for granting us the himbos. They are essential.
Yes, exactly. So Ari is like Ari never walks around with a shirt on. Ari is just abso-fucking-lutely gorgeous. Quick-witted,
abs, like a lot of abs.
Absolutely, yeah. Just like quick. Well, he's the kind of guy who just like his shirt just comes off. He's like Chris Hemsworth. It just comes off at any given opportunity.
Just as soon as his sword comes out,
it snags super quickly.
Yeah, and like he's just always been like, I'm like amazing, and I'm this super talented duelist, and I'm this, you know, I would be this advocate, and like somehow he's just always been like one better than me in every part of life. He is also an advocate. He got licensed already, and I'm still in training. He is an official court duelist. I am not yet. Like I'm just like one step behind him in every part of my life, and I want to be him so bad.
I can't wait to put him in front of you.
Yeah, right.
That's awesome. Thank you for the gift that you have given me.
Yeah,
Excellent.
right. Absolutely.
So I got a fawning noble and Ari, the shirtless duelist. I love them both. Okay, Kristen, your friend, your enemy. Who we have?
My friend, my enemy. Let's see. Is it Fareed, a tavern owner?
Yes.
They will for sure be my friend. I think Fareed is who assists me with getting a lot of my pleasure items, drink, drugs, if and when, which will be, you know, off screen, but, and, you know, lovers sometimes, perhaps. I think Fareed, if we could just have another himbo type, is.
Yeah.
I wanted
them on.
I know this does not fit, but I keep thinking about this gay bar I used to go to in West Hollywood where the bartenders just didn't wear shirts. I know that's not what Fareed is in this world, but I love the idea that he's
perfectly.
Okay.
So,
but like, why is Fareed not this bartender, right? Why is...
Ilrian has a Southern California climate too. Like it's
Yes.
always sort of nice and a little like there's a little bit of a sea breeze every time.
There's a lot of beachfront property with lots of cabana style bars. I'm like tiki is in effect.
I love it. Love it.
I love the idea, like, if there are people who bother to wear shirts, they're so deep cut, like all the way to the waist.
Yes, like all the way.
Picard's deep V's. Oh my god, I love Picard's deep V's.
Exactly.
Those are so good.
So Fareed, my friend, definitely. And then for rival, I'm gonna pick Red Crow, a hunter. Can I make them a monster hunter?
Certainly,
as well. Is that okay?
Cool.
Are they a mercy or are they like a freelance monster hunter?
I think they're a freelance.
Ooh, on mercy territory.
Yeah, which is not okay. There's not a lot of like honor in that, and so definitely a rival. Although maybe we kissed once.
Who could blame you? You're a mercy.
Life I mean, but definitely.
I mean, how can
a rival.
you? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And how about Navi? Who is your friend and rival?
So I'm gonna go with my rival is Alicia. She is a diplomat. I think she might also be Maur. And I think there might be a little bit of tension there just because no one else really in the city knows where I came from, but she does.
Ooh.
She's got your number. Nice.
She does.
Why do you two have it out for each other? Or why does she have it out for you?
I think that it might be just, being a diplomat and working really hard and coming up from a good family to get this prestigious spot, and then know that someone who just kind of crawled out of the gutter is in a pretty prestigious spot as well now, and you know who they are. I think it's more of a kind of a professional jealousy thing. Like they don't belong there.
So
nice.
Who are they representing? Are they representing Maur? Are they in like the Maur delegation or?
Yeah, I think they are representing the Maur.
So
they're probably really close with House Maritzi.
So you almost start with like a country as an enemy.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, your own country for that.
Right? Yeah, your own heritage, certainly. Were you born in Ilrian or were you did you come to Ilrian later in life?
I think I'm going to go with she came to Ilrian pretty young, young enough to where she does not have a Maur accent. She speaks like she's from Ilrian very, very clearly, but she is obviously not from Ilrian.
Sure.
And
who's your friend?
Like these
with a country for an enemy.
So with a country for an enemy, I decided that Elijah, the master architect, has to be my friend, because if the entire country is my enemy, I need to know how best to disable every building in the country.
And hide, right? Know where all the hidden bolt holes are.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Love it.
All right. Now, I think I know how to play this now. Now we get to record our name, alias, and look. So who do I have at the table today? Anybody have a name that is speaking to them?
My brother's name will be named Core. But sorry, Kristen, you jump in.
Oh, I didn't have one. Not
who
just
did I
yet.
hear?
Yeah, sorry, that was
Sorry.
me. That was
Jamie.
me.
It was you, Jamie.
No,
Sorry.
no worries, no
Yeah,
worries.
Jamie.
My name is Malika Deschalons, and my alias is the Lady of Ashes.
Love it.
That's awesome. Okay.
Ooh.
Malika, the Lady of Ashes. Pronouns?
She, they.
She, they. She, they.
Oh, we have to come up with a name and an alias.
Oh, I
You
cheated
don't
once
have
again.
to have
I
an
just
alias, but it's you know.
I just pulled up a last name from Dragon Age. Like,
Nice.
Hey, it works. If it
Yeah,
works, it works.
it's wonderful.
and then I used the name my mom almost named me when she was high, delivering me. So
Beautiful.
it's one of my fallback names.
I love it.
Sean, did I hear that you had a name?
Yes, I'm Core Ironsides. She, they. Ironsides is a it's a name of barristers. It's a barrister family name that Core earned when she like became became an advocate in Yangshi. And so she gets to claim Ironsides. It's not her family name. Her family name has been it's not forgotten necessarily, but it's not officially part of her name anymore.
It's not the one that she's carrying.
Yeah, and it's and Ironsides. It means that you have the right to write down the proclamation of the judge in these iron plates that were hung up on the wall outside the court. So if someone missed the court, court trials are like really exciting to see. And I'm stealing this from Judd Carlman. Like, if you want something done, if you want something written down and you want it to last, dwarves carve it in stone. Well, they actually scrape it into iron, and it takes a really long time. You get the honor. It's like you get the honor of being the one who like etches into the iron, and then it's a permanent record, and it's gonna last a really long time. There's these iron plates
that is so cool. Yes.
Yeah. I'm imagining like swordplay and like etching into steel is like why Core is unstoppable, because it takes like this incredible strength like carve into the steel. Like you have to build up these crazy muscles to do it. So
that's super cool. I'm really excited for Core Ironsides.
Yeah, super, super cool. And also very hot. My poor mage is like so screwed.
And I'll come up with an alias. I haven't thought of one yet. But.
I'm in that boat as well, so I'm pulling one of the names right off the list, make my life easy. So I'm going to be playing Sakara Fair, and I have not thought of an alias yet.
All right. Well, we have aliases in the book as well. If you wanted to grab one of the stock aliases, Kristen, do you have a name?
I don't have I don't have a last name yet. I'm going to be Lenore. My alias will be Mistress Wolf. And I'll have a last name. I just need a minute or 10.
Or pronouns for Lenore?
Yeah.
She, her, please.
So I'm going to pull right off of the list.
And how about you, Navi? How's
it's going to be she, her as well, and I think I'm going to snag Rumor as my alias.
Nice. I love that.
All right, so Malika, the Lady of the Ashes, Core Ironsides, Lenore, and Sakara Fair, an all-female Battalia coterie. This is going to be good. I'm so excited. Oh, man. Okay, now we got to talk a little bit more about House Battalia. We have these cool characters who have recently been kind of pulled into this delicate dance of courtly intrigue and, occasional bloodshed, but very polite, civil bloodshed. So let's talk about like our special abilities from the house, our house's strengths, and then we'll talk about our position, like what our house currently holds as far as spheres of influence, and then we'll start setting up everybody else, and we'll know who the opposition is. So House Battalia has a whole bunch of special abilities, just like your character sheets in Roll20 for your playbooks. We have a playbook for the crew. We have some special abilities in the Google Doc because I didn't know what you're going to play, so I didn't put down all of these special abilities this time. They'll be there for you next time. But if you look at the special abilities, we start off with a special feature, duty first. So all of our retinues, these are all the people that we might at some point employ. They heal at double speed.
So if they're injured,
yeah,
it's good.
if we use and abuse them to help the house out, advance our various agendas, and they get hurt in the line of duty, well, they are duty bound. So they'll come limping to help the house instead of necessarily taking it easy. So we get that for free, but we also get one of these cool special abilities down here as well. So if there's anything down there that looks cool, go ahead and shout it out.
Do you want to read them since we don't have them readily available?
Sure, yeah. So we have Deterrence, where each PC adds +1 action rating to command or maneuver. It's a good, solid choice to get an extra dot. We've got Fortified, so each PC gains +1 load when going discreet. There are only 2 load categories in Court of Blades, unlike Blades in the Dark. You're either discreet with 3 load or less, or you are loaded, where you have, as many dots as you can carry. You have up to 7 before you're over encumbered. But the fictional positioning there is that you obviously look like you're up to no good when you're going loaded for bear, right?
Or you're obviously looking like you're going for spoiling for a fight. I mean, you might
Exactly.
be up to plenty of good, just with lots of swords and bows and crossbows. And
Yeah, we've
Where are
got,
you going?
got a couple of pistols off the front. We got a cutlass and a morning star. And it's like an improvised
breastplate.
Exactly. But yeah, maybe not for a state dinner, but fine if you're going to go and knock over a gang den or something like that. Sorry, Sakara. So Fortified's a cool one. Ironclad, where each PC gets +1d to all body resist rolls. So anytime that you're going to be taking harm in the fiction, you get an extra die to roll to resist. Just Cause, when the coterie does the right thing at a cost to themselves, we mark extra XP. The Old Guard, people are inclined to believe that you're acting in the best interest of Ilrian and rarely question your motives. You gain an additional XP trigger for that one. Did we protect Ilrian and her interests? Choose your ground. When you prepare for battle, you can pay 1 favor for each of the following. The ground does not allow an ambush. You are difficult to reach. You are surrounded by friends. Like, these are all very powerful fictional positioning things if we are preparing for an open fight. So if we're going musketeering, might not be a bad idea to have that. And then upon our honor, all deals you make are public knowledge and inviolate. Gain +1 favor when you keep your word. If another house goes back on the deal with you, they lose face. Remove a clock tick on their house advancement. So house advancement clocks are how we track how things are progressing in the city. Everybody's got an agenda. Everybody has something that they're working on. And anytime they break a deal with us, they have a setback for that. So that's also very powerful, right?
Cool.
So we got some good stuff there.
Yeah. I know it's always fun to have like an extra dot, but I'm also drawn to the drama of Just Cause. The right thing at the cost of themselves, but I'm open to anything. How about you?
My thought is the last 2, Choose Your Ground and Upon Your Honor, both sound like they're very well established. And I feel like our characters are not, I don't feel like from what I know of our characters so far that we're very well established within House Battalia yet. I don't think we are their favorite retinue. So I like those moves, but I personally, for me, I'd like to not take them just yet because I kind of want to earn that within the fiction.
Right.
Like, cool, at some point
first.
Yeah. So other than that, I think Deterrence is really, like, getting an extra dot is always solid. I also like Just Cause. I think those are both. I'm pretty excited about both of those. Old Guard is also kind of fun too.
I was gonna say,
actually.
That's the only one I was going to add in is Old Guard. So I think we're in agreement so far.
We're in agreement to that we like a lot of them.
that we've narrowed it down to 3 so far, I think.
What about you,
not
Navi?
bad.
Yeah,
Do you have a preference? Do you have one that you'd like to see?
Oh boy.
Position right
I know. I don't really know what it is. So having an extra die is always really nice. Being able to take more load actually is pretty nice too before you're no longer discreet, especially since we have some heavy hitters, because you guys probably want to have like your heavy weapon, your blade for show, your blade for pro. So that could be really nice for you guys actually. And then Old Guard is pretty cool. So it's just, see, I'm not helping. I'm not helping at all.
You're not helping.
You guys are getting deterrents.
You've added one. You've actually.
Yeah.
Made it worse.
It's the opposite.
So everything but ironclad looks really good.
Let's see.
Nothing's ever going to go wrong. It's going to be fine.
Everybody here is going to get hit. It's okay.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it sounds
I have no issue. For me, fortified sounds really cool, but I have zero issue being called out for like if we are fortified. Like I have no problem somebody being like, "Why are you carrying that giant 200 axe on your back?" Right? Like that
Cultural
does not
weapon
bother me as a potential as a potential challenge. So I actually kind of embrace the challenges that not taking fortified
Ooh,
presents.
okay.
I think those are fun to me, you know, like, yes, I need to have all of this.
I imagine that Lenore has been, beaten down by a monster and lost her swords and her bow and has had to do it with her bare hands. So I think I'm okay with not having fortified if we want to.
When you're a mercy, you do what you got to do.
Do what you gotta do, right?
Yep.
Sometimes you got to kill a werewolf with your teeth. It happens.
It happens twice for Lenore, just
But yeah, I think I'm really drawn to the XP triggers because it develops a question of like, what is the right thing and what are the interests, right? Like, this could be very interesting narrative. Yeah.
Mhm.
Is that Old
Territory.
Guard? Is that what you're thinking, Jamie?
Old Guard or Just Cause? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
I agree with
I
you.
definitely did that in one of my games. I said, if you're using magic for the right reasons, just so that I could hear the players like argue amongst themselves, like, no, it isn't for the right reason.
This
Okay,
game,
I second the Old Guard then. Like that's really good.
this game is built to have kind of a slow burn as opposed to like the meteoric arc that some Forge in the Dark games can have. So typically, without the extra XP trigger, the most you can earn per session for the coterie is 4.
Okay.
With that, you gain an additional one, which means that we get the next advance that much faster.
Cool.
So it sounds like we're doing Old
Yeah.
Guard.
Cool.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Cool.
Sounds good.
I'm gonna paste it into. Here we go. Also, fan of the movie, so it doesn't hurt when I think of that. There we go. Boom. It is added to the group. Added to the house sheet. I almost said crew sheet. I apologize.
That's all right. It's going to happen.
Yep.
We're using Blades in the Dark sheets. The Blades in the Dark thing is going to come through. So we also need to choose our strengths for our house. Battalia has 2 strengths. One of these will go away. The house strengths for Battalia are force, transport, or wealth. So these are basically things that the house excels at, things that when our plans for errands and things play to one of these strengths, we get an extra die for the engagement roll. So we are an old house of martial valor, which 2 of those sound like they are the most interesting for House Battalia to be carrying
Gotta have
forward.
force. Force has to be 1.
Does it? Doesn't necessarily. We could be an old house of martial valor, right? Like, where are all the warriors? Well, they're 90. So
that's true. That's true. I'm kind of Navi though here.
If we're playing musketeers, certainly force can be compulsory.
Besides, if we have force, that means we have more room for himbos to show up. So.
Yeah.
Do we keep 1 or 2 of the strength?
2.
2.
So we have 2 that we can count on, and then everything else we're going to be playing at something of a disadvantage with. So
I think we all agree on force, right?
Yeah, I agree.
I think force is.
So the question is, do we want to lose out on transport or wealth?
I mean, wealth will buy us transport.
It can, yeah.
Right?
If the dice allow it, I guess. I imagine.
If everybody's willing to sell to you, because this is a game of politics, right? So what will it take for them to take your money, right?
Yeah.
Good point.
So there's no Amazon Bezos, basically. Like,
House Yolanda's over there holding the holding the economy of the city
Right,
fairly hostage. So, and they are not necessarily your friends.
Yep. Yeah, we'll find out. I have no problem giving up wealth with the idea that we have our own kind of ways around, and we're often sort of the underdogs in the wealth in the economic sphere. But I can also
Mhm.
see like militaries make a lot of money. It is undoubtable that like it makes total sense to me if we have a lot of wealth and we're too like stationed in our we have a few locations that aren't spread out very far. We don't have good transportation networks. So
I
I'm
also
pretty cool
want
with
to
these ideas.
propose the idea that we don't have a lot of wealth because that's what we get for doing the right thing a lot of the
yeah.
time.
Oh,
yeah.
also a good point. I'm completely fine with transport.
Transport.
Sounds
So
good.
we can get around, we can project force throughout the city and beyond,
Mhm.
but the coffers are looking a little empty these days.
Can I throw out a possible truth about the world?
Ooh.
The truth that I want to throw out is it's like in California, we're a desert state. You are legally obligated to give people water if they come into your place of business and you can provide it.
Yeah.
I think that whatever house is the current one on the front line, and that is often Battaglia, but it's not always, but whatever's on the front line, they have to be given transport as needed for any kind of military endeavors that they're doing. So any other house is, by the law of the land, obligated to give us transportation as long as we can prove that as long as it's known or it's understood that we're doing this in the defense of Ilrian.
Oh yeah.
I like that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That also
that
means
could-
we can act like movie, like we're taking this car for official purposes.
Exactly.
Yes, I'm taking this horse.
We could totally take a
Battalia.
horse for official visit. That's exactly where I was going, Jamie.
I like it. Let's do it. I'm a fan.
I was just thinking that's a way to
Yeah.
justify the
Surrender your
transport.
cart.
There you
Yes.
go. Yes.
Commandeer, it's a nautical term. All right, and our coterie as a whole, our little group of retainers here, just newly minted in House Battalia's service, taken under the wing of this very powerful house. We have a reputation already, based on what we did, to enter service. What do we think our reputation is as a coterie? Are we ambitious, brutal, daring, honorable, professional, savvy, subtle, arcane, something else?
I'm like waiting
I
to
feel
hear
like
what everybody
ambitious
says.
is a very safe choice. Like ambitious is very very good for starting groups. Like, oh wow, yeah, they've got some
Mhm.
moxie. I'm thinking more about like how our four characters are actually connected and like what we collectively bring. Because I also feel like daring or maybe even arcane, even though a lot of us don't have arcane things. Like Kristen, I feel like just by knowing about monsters, you have to sort of be familiar
Right, and brush up
with,
against the arcane stuff.
supernatural
Yeah.
stuff, and because I can definitely see people who are like, "Ooh, we don't want to deal with that weird supernatural
Mhm.
stuff. You guys, take care of it." So
Ooh.
yes, I think for me, daring or arcane are both interesting, and I'm open. to
Yeah. I like the idea of arcane just because it would be narratively interesting to keep pushing in that direction.
Mhm.
But I'm also okay with daring. So
No, I can get behind arcane. I'm not playing a particular arcane character, but I can play a very superstitious character to lean into that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Nice,
like
nice.
that.
Yeah,
Cool.
This is basically the reason why we have the initial reputation we start off is this is you guys, you get to tell me what kind of stories you're most excited about. If you are ambitious, then obviously you can expect a lot of social climbing. If you're professional, I will basically, the dirty jobs that have to get done are coming down the pipe for you. If you're subtle, I will put that to the test. If you tell me that you are an arcane coterie in service to the old house of martial valor, you better believe that there are problems in Ilrien that are arcane in nature.
ooh, I like
Yes.
that. That sounds
Yeah,
fun.
that.
Nice.
If it's that, it's that.
Mhm.
Like, okay. Arcane. certainly. We have our special ability. We need to talk about upgrades.
Okay.
The house itself is just now starting. The house is an old house of martial valor, as we've established. It's been here forever. Only now the houses of Ilrian are constantly in this kind of fluctuation, right? So the top six, the six most powerful houses in the city are the Esultare. They're the people who vote. They're the people who, decide policy. They elect the prince. It's basically where political power in Ilrian lives. Now houses rise and fall and rise again. And right now we're seeing Battalia come on an upswing. And you are serving Battalia. Battalia is able to provide services, options, things that will help you do your job better. And that's what these are. The house is tier 2 when we start off. That's basically like 2 bumps up the chain from a tier 0 starting coterie. So long as you can get the house to help you out with things like your equipment and things like that will be tier 2 as well. Upgrades are basically how we say how the house is helping us, like what do we have at our disposal. And it's not just the house. We also have friends and enemies out there in the city, other factions that we may have had help us out with some of these things. So if we want, I don't know, we'll say better weaponry, we can talk about how the Ironmongers helped us out with this, but really pissed off Irlanda and things like that. So we have 2 boxes of upgrades to spend. What sounds cool? We have a couple of crew upgrades, a couple of coterie upgrades on the sheet. The standard upgrades are underneath. They are pretty much identical to Blades in the Dark, but they have a little bit different fictional impact as it goes here. So
why don't we read the 4 Battaglia special ones, because those are the ones that are special to us, and I always like to look at those since that's our thing. We can take any of the others, but yeah, I'll read the first one and we can go down. So the first one's Vigilant. The coterie gains access to detailed maps of old smugglers' tunnels and catacombs.
Oh.
Navi, will you do Incorruptible?
Incorruptible. Your retinues and colleagues all gain the loyal trait. They will never take a bribe, and they will never turn on you. They will accept death before dishonor.
Jenny,
Really love that one already. I'm just gonna say it. Surrounded by these himbos that will die for us. Yes. But
Just think what happens when they do die and how sad we're gonna be.
But then it will give my character so much to work with. We
It
can
will.
fridge a few himbos. That's okay.
we will ascend to first house of Esultare on a ramp of loyal hippos.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I'll read the next one. To the last man. When you hire a retinue of blades, it functions as 1 tier higher.
You have soldiers or armsmen or any number of other things that can go and do violence on your behalf. They count as 1 tier higher for the purposes of narrative. So pretty cool.
Cool. Yeah.
Thoroughbreds. You are granted access to the house's stables. You can get anywhere in the city much faster than your rivals, and few will stand against a charge of Battalia. What is that?
Chevaliers.
Chevaliers. Thank you. Oh,
It's a fancy name for a
Yeah.
cavalry.
Yeah.
The only thing about that is if we already can pretty much go up to a rider and say, I'm going to need to commandeer this horse.
Yeah.
And it's already kind of cool,
They're not thoroughbreds. It's just some guy's horse, right?
That's
Right.
an excellent point. It's not a thoroughbred.
Yeah. We could sort of have the monopoly on transportation, which could be cool. Could be neat to be able to sort of get anywhere. That could ultimately become sort of our defining characteristic, as if there's problems all over the city, we can address them. I don't dislike it, but I'm also in
Fictionally positioned to be anywhere when you need to be.
Yeah. I'm also in Jamie's boat that Incorruptible is real good. And then there's all the others that are on the house sheet. A carriage, a boat, a hidden lair.
Oh yeah. What
quarters,
page is that? Sorry.
all
Where is
stuff.
that?
I don't think it's on
We have universal house upgrades at the.
Oh, they are there.
So on page 95 of the PDF or of the Google Doc, we've got a couple of upgrades. So we've got retinues,
Oh, I see them.
things like that.
Mhm.
Private apartments, a hidden exit from the house, a workshop, ritual space, library, arcane wards, dedicated transportation, ledgers, which is basically like a vault, extensive ledgers, because there's no money in this game. It's all favors, right? And what you need is a ledger of all your favors, right? Who owes us what?
Mhm.
So you can basically bank more favor that way.
Mhm.
And then quality for your documents, your gear, your implements, supplies, or tools.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah,
And
is
we
there
can get
anything
more of
that's calling out
these
to you?
through play as well. So it's not like, as we
Certainly,
advance, we'll have the option to get more.
Okay.
Yeah, so whatever just sounds the most fun. And we get 2 upgrades, right?
Mhm.
Because we're starting it. Okay,
2.
awesome.
I'm trying to get back to the house ones, but I'm completely fine with the one Jamie and Sean were talking about.
Incorruptible?
Incorruptible. Thank you. I was just scrolling back to page 89, 85.
Well, we could do incorruptible and start with retinues if we want to take that as our second upgrade. So we can
That's
grab
what I was
the
thinking.
incorruptible
Yes.
retinue.
Yeah, because
Cool,
we
cool,
have
cool.
we're incorruptible, but if we don't have a retinue, then that doesn't do anything yet. So I
Mhm.
like
It's true.
that idea.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's great
I
that
like
everybody
that.
who works for you is, loyal unto death.
We could just keep
But nobody works
acquiring
for you.
assets.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Nice. I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, let's do it.
Cool. So when we get a retinue, we choose. There are 5 types of retinues. There's Doctor, Courtier, Wayfinder, Fox, and Blade, and those are further broken down. I think most of them sound self-explanatory, but Fox is scouts, infiltrators, and thieves, and Blades are killers, bodyguards, and rustabouts.
Cool.
I kind of like the idea. I feel like we're very well equipped to do violence, so I like the idea
Yeah.
of courtiers, or maybe not wayfinders, because we've sort of established. Oh no, we didn't take thoroughbreds. Never mind. So yeah,
Mhm.
possibly wayfinders. Scholars, thinkers also sound cool to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
We want to think of them as like groups of folks that will like send to go do a job, though, rather
Right.
than a single character that would be an expert in a particular thing.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
I think leaning into the fact that we have a lot of ability to do violence ourselves, I'm kind of on the same page as far as I think courtiers might be my favorite, but Doctores could be really cool too.
Yeah, that sounds
courtiers
good to me.
that can't be bought is an amazing combination. I'll just say.
I know.
That's
Yeah.
a very power combo right there. Courtiers that
Yeah.
are loyal to you.
You might have the only ones in Ilrian.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so
Oh,
cool. I like that a lot. That's cool.
yeah, there's our motivation right there. I like that.
Cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
So courtier is sort of broken up further into, and these are just examples, I think, but con artists, spies, and socialites. I was feeling socialites, like not spies, but like I don't know, spies could be super cool too. Like they could be our informants, etc. What vibe? How like legit do we want them to be?
Oh yeah, because they could be spies that look like socialites, right? Yeah.
What do you feel like, Kristen? You want
I
people
li-
that are on the level?
I do like the socialite because I think we can lean towards violence and towards darkness, and we have this socialite that can like go to
Yeah.
parties and help us.
You got some people to like, okay, so this is what they said, but this is what they really meant.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry about your dog and all the things that we burnt down, but you have to understand there are mitigating circumstances, which are, let's get to that later. Yeah. I can totally see
I don't
that.
know if it would be like overpowered, but I love the idea of bards from Dragon Age, where they're socialites that know how to read things and they know how to get information. Like they help us navigate that. That would be really cool, I think. But yeah, but basically socialites. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Having some people to move in social circles. It's not the same as having people who are like, breaking in late at night and stealing secrets.
Right.
They have ears and they do talk, right? So they kind of straddle that line, I think. That makes sense.
So when we pick one, we get edges and flaws that they have, and we automatically get loyal. That's a bonus
We
one.
do.
Ooh.
So we can pick 1 or 2 edges, and then we have to pick as many flaws.
Okay. Where can I find the
look, this
edges?
They're on page 97.
97.
Yes. Ooh.
We have fearsome, which are make them terrifying in aspect and reputation. So if you want particularly powerful ones that people will quail away from, that might be a good choice.
Maybe not the best socialite.
Maybe not.
Why
but,
not?
I don't know. I know.
Yeah.
I know some fearsome socialites.
It's true. It's true. It's true.
We've got independent, so they can be trusted to make good choices. We have
Mhm.
loyal already. They can't be bribed or turned against you. And
Mhm.
tenacious. They won't be deterred from a task.
I kind of like independent
Mhm.
because
I
the thought
agree.
of giving them like just a small amount of instruction, and then if they come back with information or maybe different information, we can kind of play with that narratively. I think
Yeah,
that
very cool.
opens things
I
up
super
a little.
agree.
I like that too.
Thank you.
What do you think, Navi? Dick now?
Me? Yep.
All right. So
Right.
now we have to pick at least a flaw. We can
One
pick
flaw.
one more edge,
Five,
but I'd like.
Okay.
Nothing is
Yeah.
free in Ilrian.
Of course.
So they're either principled, so they have ethics and morals that they just will not betray.
Hmm.
They're savage, excessively violent and cruel socialites. They're unreliable. They're not always available due to flights of fancy, obligations, or their own indulgence. Or they're uncouth. They are loudmouthed, drunken, or debauched.
I like these flaws.
They're pretty
I
fun.
kind of like the idea of principled in the sense of there are certain things they will have to do in order to gain information. There are certain people they have to be nice to because of how the game works.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It
that's-
Yeah.
has rules, right?
Mhm.
Look, there are rules about this kind of thing. We know that you don't think that the games of Ilrian are worth a damn, House Battalia, but this is not how things are done.
Mhm.
You mean I can't just steal a horse and go over there? Like, you know,
Well, I mean, you can, but also understand that you can just so long as you never do, then we don't have to talk about it.
exactly. But yeah, but that's my vote. But I'm
I like
cool
that
with,
one.
Any of them.
Principle?
Yeah. I do. There is in my mind. There's a group of courtiers that are fearsome and savage that are just like they have like the most scathing. They say the most scathing things in court, and they just like
Yeah, sort of like, oh, darling, you wore this exact same coat 5 years ago. It still looks good on you.
Yes.
Sure.
exactly.
It's like you paid somebody for that.
Yeah.
That's
bought
okay.
it in
They're over with
store.
House Lavelle. We just avoid them.
Or Corvetto, just eviscerating people. Just eviscerating people with words.
Oof.
Love it. Cool. So I think that creates our retinue. Does the retinue get a name?
What do you want to call these
serve
people?
The house.
We could call them. I mean, these are yours to command. When you are set as a coterie, the house has its own retinues. These people are at your disposal. Basically, when you get your dossiers dropped on you, all of the things that are going on that need seeing to, these are people that you can send off to help you out with these things. Either bringing them in on your own excursion or sending them off on their own to deal with things.
Mhm.
These are yours.
Mhm.
So you may name them as you like. I will give them personal names as you please, but their group in particular, if you just want to call them your hounds, you can do that, or any number of other things, right?
Yeah, what's a nice preening like animal or
Peacocks.
or peacock himbos? Do they all wear crop tops all the time?
Oh, God, like
It is.
we're gonna start off in Primavera, and it's springtime, and it's just starting to get not oppressively hot yet, but it's still warm. So yeah, crop tops are perfectly acceptable.
I do like the
right,
idea of
yeah.
peacocks, and they all have to be boys
Yes,
or
Battalia
masked. I
peacocks.
really like that idea.
Ooh, masked.
Well, they're all nobles,
Oh,
and nobles
yeah.
in Ilrian all wear masks. That's
Perfect.
how, otherwise, how would you know who they were?
Of course.
Right, excellent. The peacocks.
So the faces are covered, but the abs are showing. So just so.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm making shot. I'm usually so in control as a GM. Like I'm pulled back as a
It's-
GM.
It's so good. I love it, Jamie. I'm here for it. And I am definitely Core. She definitely has the incredibly deep V. Since we've mentioned it, yeah, the very Picard cut. I'm going for that.
Picard cut.
Perfect.
This would be
Perfect.
the most nakedest version of the game.
I think this is just seasonal fashion. It's just a summery place. It's a
Yeah,
warm
exactly.
place.
And when it
True,
gets to
true.
Inverno, then we'll see all of the kind of dowdy looking
Mm-hmm.
stuff. But anyway, so we have a couple of things. We need to talk about who helped us earn these upgrades, who gave them to us, and we'll take some extra status with them. People who helped House Battalia secure the peacocks that are incorruptible, and then we can talk about who was inconvenienced, who wanted the peacocks and don't get them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I get to pitch some ideas over who is pissed off that they didn't get the peacocks. And obviously the first one is House Lavelle. House Lavelle is not happy that the peacocks don't work for them when all courtiers should be working for the gossip mongers of wealth and taste, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's my first pitch.
Okay.
The other one is the Bank of Brass and Bone. The Bank of Brass and Bone are basically the central bank, right? Who own all of the debt in the city. They're immensely powerful. There's a holiday that is just nothing but the day where they compound interest on everybody's loans. People rush around trying to pay down as much principal as possible. It's a really good day for bargain hunting, but
Oh my God. The money holiday. The capitalists don't even bother to try and conceal it. They don't even call it Valentine's Day. They just call it the money day.
They call it the brass harvest amongst Ilrian. It's technically called Recoupment Day, but nobody calls it that. It's the brass harvest.
Money day.
So the Bank of Brass and Bone could be spoiling for agents provocateur, and you just happen to snatch them out right from under their noses. Or I'm thinking that maybe because they're independent and they're principled, I'm feeling, let's see, perhaps these were, I need somebody weird.
Uh-oh.
Hold on, guys. It's about to get weird.
Every time someone says weird, I perk up. My keywords are himbo or weird.
I'm thinking maybe these guys were, I think maybe these guys were buskins, which are almost like revolutionary artists from kind of the poorer sections of town that are almost like dyed-in-the-wool sort of anti-imperialists. They're trying to abolish the mask. They're trying to break up the, and they do this through art and oration and sort of educating the masses through like street theater, and they're performance artists, and they're kind of cool that way. So like the Buskin, House Lavelle, or the Bank of Brass and Bone wanted these people, but you got to them first.
Well, I want to throw an argument to flip around the Buskin argument and say that should be the people that we helped out because we hired, these people were Buskins and we hired them. And I hella would love to stick it to the bank because it's a really bad idea, but I love the idea of
Let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
not
that
really.
was great, Sean. So thank you.
There's also a reason we don't have wealth, So
Yeah.
like,
I'm
cool with that.
I was going to take one of the people that you took them from that you didn't choose and make them the people that were happy about it. But yeah, that totally makes sense fictionally for me.
All right,
So
so it's a -1
gonna
or
be
-2?
It's going to be a -1 from the Bank of Brass and Bone and a -2 to the Bank of Brass and Bone and a +1 with the Buskin, unless we want to pay some favors and pay that down. What do you guys think?
How do we pay favors?
So we start with 4 favor. We have 4 favor to spread around. We can hold on to it so that we can pay for stuff later, or we can use it here in crew creation, or house creation, and start in maybe a more tenuous situation.
Faction status works the same way as it does in Blades in terms of how bad -1, -2, -3 is.
Yeah. So at 3, you go to war.
Yeah. So -1 generally means if you're -1 status to somebody, they don't like you, and they're going to mess with you as long as it's not inconveniencing them. They're not going to go out of their way, but whenever they have the opportunity to, they're going to it. At -2, they will go out of their way to mess with you as long as it's not endangering them. And at -3, you're at war, and they will go after you even if it endangers them. So -2 with the bank is pretty bad. I'd say. I think I might be willing to spend the favor to make it only -1 at least to start with, so they're not quite gunning for us so hard.
I second that. Out of the gates, it'd be pretty hard to have the bank manage.
Yeah, just immediately being like, "Oh, you want to do that? First, pay off your debts." Then.
Well, this is why you no longer have wealth, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm cool with paying a favor.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
fine
want
with
it to
paying
be
a
too
favor.
much like living in the real world, so I'm okay with.
Right.
Well, we don't have to worry about money. Like when it comes to time to do anything that would in like Blades take coin, it takes favor, and we have to make promises and wheel and deal. But the house is typically good for it. Only we don't have wealth, so we'll see how that goes. Let's talk about our sphere of influence. So we've got the map of Ilrian kind of laid out on the back of our Roll20 here. We've got a number of districts, and under there are sections of the city called spheres of influence, areas within the city that that we might be able to lay claim to. Because we start off, we've got our claws in one sphere of influence, and then I get to divide the rest of the city up amongst the other houses.
I think you forgot our other friend and enemy though, because we need one for each of our upgrades.
We have incorruptible peacocks. So
so you put them together.
I put them together.
We got we got a freebie.
They kind of did. But that's okay, because narratively this makes more sense than pissing off the same people twice.
Sure.
All right, so our sphere of influence, we've got all kinds of different neighborhoods and areas within the city, to include like the city watch, our sphere of influence that we could have, influence with. If any of them sound cool, then we can talk about that. Otherwise, I can go through some of these areas, and we can talk about like what kind of stuff sounds interesting to play around with, or we can do it any other way.
This is what House Battalia has. In
Correct.
Influence, right?
This is what we get to leverage.
Okay.
Yeah, this is not necessarily our territory. This is the house's territory, and we get some fringe benefits from it.
Nice.
We have the arsenal, the twist. We've got the grand gate, the docks, the plaza, the granaries, the banks, the theater, the artist quarter, the trader's gate, the arbor, the necropolitan hill, the silk, the palace. We can't have that one. The university, the market, the foreign quarter, the watch, the canals, the temples, the garden. And that is all.
And they all have a different perk.
Correct.
So if that's important to you, that's something you want to look at.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, where do we see the perks?
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
where are the
But
perks?
So
then
many choices.
spheres of influence under the city. It also tells you what contacts you get, because that's how we get house contacts that we can leverage. And it also has a faction that holds the holding that we get in good with. And then I get to tell you who doesn't like them.
Real quick, because you doubled up on the factions for our upgrades, does that mean that we should have +2 with would it by default be -2 +2?
Yes.
With okay, so I'm gonna take +2 with the buskins.
Correct. +2 with the buskin, -2 with the bank of brass and bone, right?
We paid one off.
We paid one off, you're right.
Yeah, exactly. Jamie, I think you're infectious, because immediately I was just like the Necropolitan Hill.
Yes.
And then I'm like, I'm not sure that that's where our house would like have its strength. I could see that's where we would be interested.
Ooh, I kind of like that. Like they allow us to hang out, us who are proving ourselves.
The Necropolitan Hill is a super cool piece of real estate with a real bad secret underneath it. That's where the Deathless is interred. So there is an old time Dread Empire era war mage who couldn't be killed, and he's been sealed down there, apparently asleep. And if he wakes up, it's all going to be real bad. Luckily,
Ooh, I want to propose that it was our house that put him there and put him to sleep a long time ago, and we have to stay there to like, you know,
Oh,
guard over the place.
Absolutely.
yeah.
So we're in this like
I love it.
castle that's kind of falling apart.
this is the spookiest group of Court of Blades that I think I've ever before. And I'm
Spookiest
really
and
excited.
sexiest.
Spookiest, yeah, I was gonna say spookiest and sexiest.
There will
Good
be
combination.
himbos and there will be himbos and monsters just as far as the eye can see. I'm super stoked.
For all of
Just
time.
So many.
Okay. So we get the Necropolitan Hill. We take -1 stress cost whenever we do rituals, which means big magic is going to be less stressful. We also get faction status with the Dead Watchers, who are the habitual guardians of the dead. So basically, they're undertakers, part-time, ghost hunters, and things like that. They do the dirty work that the mercies. I mean, there are only so many mercies, but this old kind of lineage, probably descending from House Battalia, are holding steady vigil over the Necropolitan Hill, and they like you pretty well. If you want to spend a favor with them, they'll like you really well. But right now, they're at +1.
We're at +1. We can spend a favor to bring that up to +2. I'm all for it. I think I'm fine with spending favor now. I think it's totally cool to have the Dead Watchers think we're just the bee's knees.
Yeah. Cool.
And we are going to take -2 with the Sevenfold Veils, which is a hidden conspiracy of cultists and ritualists trying to wake up the Deathless. So
well, it makes sense that we'd be -2 with them.
we can spend a favor and make it a -1, kind of be off their radar a little bit, or we could hold on to that for later.
I kind of want to be on someone's radar. Like I want there to be some conflict.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, and I like the Sevenfold Veil as being like right up in our grills from the beginning. I think
I like it.
The Sevenfold Veil are not your best friends. By stretch of the imagination. So there's a vast conspiracy of knacks and blunts all across the city who are working to, wake up the last Deathless. Are aware that you are the reason there is a habitual guard on the Necropolitan Hill. They know it's your territory. They know that you are the last line of defense for Ilrian, and they hate you for it.
Nice.
Okay.
But you said that they're an underground organization, right? Like they don't.
They are, yeah.
Right.
So
they can't come out publicly.
Yeah. They don't have T-shirts or anything like that. Like they're.
Do they have any public fronts? Do they have any like most criminal organizations, right? Like need some sort of cover that allows them to sort of have their clubhouses and their hangouts.
Most of these come from the nobility. So they function within noble society. They hold the same kind of parties and salons that you will find amongst most noble folks. The only problem is that there's ritual sacrifice and evil sacraments and things like that go on behind closed doors. But there's also distressing whispers that there are some of them that are embedded within the Solemn Naturalis, the biggest bunch of knacks and mages that Ilrian currently holds. So we've got that going for us too.
Nice. So they're part of like lots of different. They're a secret society that people from all these powerful places join. I love it.
Exactly. So you never know who betrays.
Yeah. So I just want to say that Ari is definitely working for another house and is very a prominent member of the house, and I'm sure that's all he's up to and has no affiliation with like.
I can't imagine that Ari would get mixed up in anything untoward.
Yeah. No.
So from having the Necropolitan Hill, we get Ferdinand, a Death Keeper. As a contact, we get Moderata, a medium, and we get Khalid, a hunter. So those are all friends that we can count on. We Yeah, so that takes care of that.
Mhm.
Do you want me to roll up who is currently the sitting first house, second house, third house, fourth house, fifth house, or do you want me to just use my best judgment and tell you who's currently at the top of the heap?
Or is there one that's more interesting to everyone?
Who do we want to be our first step on the road to first house?
And we are sixth. Like the premise of the game is that we started in sixth place, right?
We began at the sixth house of the SSR, yes.
Okay.
Who do we love to hate?
I mean, let's pick whatever we were. Let's pick whoever we were like thinking about at like Lavelle as we were like second most interested in. They should
agree.
You know, be powerful.
All right, so our Lavelles, are they the first house or are they the fifth house? Are they the ones that we are going to be striking at, or are they the ones who are kind of looking down at it all like, oh, these people?
I think they should be at the tippy top.
Yeah.
And I think maybe House Bastion should be the one we have to step on first, the house that everybody in the city loves except for the nobles.
Oh, that hurts. That hurts.
So I have Bastien at the top, or Lavelle at the top, Bastien right above us. We have Corvetto, Irlanda, and Maurizi to place after that.
I have a question about this because Bastien is such like the people's house that like everyone disregards. Has anyone ever had a game where Bastien was on top?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we have.
Cool.
And it felt very strange. Ilrien was going through the midst of almost like a revolution. Rights were being gained, and I think it was a Corvetto house that we were playing. And it's this old kind of decrepit, angry house. It's like, look at these people up here with their thoughts on how we are all the same. This will not stand.
This will not stand.
So it got a little rough, like, but it was a fun game. So.
Cool. That's what I envisioned as well.
It's a very different game depending on how the houses are arranged. So do we think that Maurizi might be next above House Bastien? Do we think Irlanda, the trade princes, might be right above that? The Corvetto, the old house of mysteries and secrets and throat cutting?
Kind of like the trade princes, but yeah, sorry, you were saying.
No, Jamie, I was just gonna say I don't know that I have a preference for the other three. So yeah.
Yeah, let's put Irlanda, and then I'm gonna do Maurizi, then Corvetto. Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Are you changing their tier respectively?
I am going to, yeah. So the first house of the city is a tier 5 organization. The next two are tier 4. The two below that are tier 3, and you guys are tier 2.
I see. You are rearranging them as we speak.
Making your life difficult.
No, it's all good. we're just in the same fields, but it's we're getting it done.
I live to make you suffer. I'm sorry. All right. So that being said, I'm going to bust up the city according to their spheres of influence, but that's something that I can do in between stuff. If we want, how are we looking on time? We got maybe 45 minutes left.
I meant to do this a little bit ago, but I kind of got carried away because I was so excited. We should probably take a little quick stretch break.
Yeah.
If we want to do anything else.
Just gonna power tunnel for 3 hours.
Exactly. I mean, I can do it, but I don't feel good about it afterwards.
Yeah, no, I feel that.
Yeah, let's take a fiber and go stretch.
Let's take a fiber, and then I can tell you how you guys got into this mess, and then we can see how stuff works, and we can maybe get to use some of these cool toys that we've got, and then we'll set it up for next week.
I'm excited about that.
Nice.
All right.
5.
Okay, friends, we're going to be back at 5. We'll see you all soon.